Welcome to Plausible Foolishness. I am one of the two kings of the Rube Empire. Where the people are free, the taxes are voluntary, and we serve freshly roasted liberal logic every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. right here on twitch.tv/Plausible Foolishness, YouTube, Facebook Live, and anywhere you can get a podcast. I am the Philosopher King, the Mad Scientist Matt, the Ivory Tower.
What a lovely tower.
And I've got a perspective on things. Ray is, of course, on sabbatical, or something like that. He hasn't told us. But we also have, for your pleasure,
The producer.
right, the producer, the right hand of the kings,
Hey, I'm the one that pays the taxes.
the kick-ass Duke, Dusty!
Ah, I got a Dusty!
Sorry for the technical difficulties. Computer's running a little weird. So hopefully it's not, hopefully it kicks into gear and it doesn't impair your viewing pleasure. But it seems to be a little, I don't know, laggy.
Just
But
a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna run with it because there's not much else we can do. It's a kind of an old computer.
We're not going to let big tech get us down.
Yeah, we're not gonna let old tech get us down either. So,
Old tech, new tech, big tech. Let's just let Trump sue them all. I'll be down for that class action.
that's what I didn't do.
Start the stream.
Start the recording of the audio.
Do.
So,
We're betting 1,000, folks.
yep, it's a great day. This
That's
is
okay.
Plausible Foolishness. This is the way it's always been. Just in case you didn't know. So, how have you been?
Pretty good. The Lord has blessed me quite a bit. Going through some trying times, but usually when I come out of those, I'm usually better for it.
Awesome. I mean, not awesome that you're going through trying times, but that there is a silver lining.
It's usually God.
Yep. It's almost always good. I mean, how can we? Not even almost. It's always good. All blessings come from.
Amen to that.
All right.
So, let's start off with our first segment.
What's that?
Pop culture.
Oh,
Movies.
yes.
I like to do trivia, but I don't think that's going to be our thing.
Like when you say trivia, what would you like to do?
It's just like a category, pop culture trivia or something like that.
Yeah, well, like, do you have an idea? I love trivia.
I do too. But
So, I mean, knowing pointless and useless facts is what I'm about.
oh, great. Sorry, we've had a lot of technical difficulties tonight.
Yes.
Just getting us up and running has been quite a feat.
Is it everything that we say? Ace bombs? There's a slight delay, so.
Yep, slight delay, that's okay.
Anyway, so pop culture.
Yes,
I saw Black Widow this weekend.
as did I.
All right, so then we need to talk about it. What did you think?
It did absolutely nothing to progress the Marvel universe.
I disagree.
I don't think it was a bad movie,
Yeah, I enjoyed the movie, but I do disagree with that statement.
but the Marvel universe can progress forward even if this thing doesn't exist.
It could, but they're doing exactly what. Okay, so what was the last? What was
Infinity War.
Infinity War was the first Thanos movie. The second. What was that? Oh man! So there's something wrong with that.
Static.
Barely
audible. Interesting. Let me check this out.
All right, we're
The
gonna
producers got to go to work.
Yeah, we're gonna try and figure it out.
So your thoughts?
Okay, so Thanos at the end of the last one, you know, the world kind of got changed considerably. So they're back to where they were at the beginning of the MCU, which is introducing characters.
To take over for the characters that are leaving.
Exactly.
Okay.
So this did progress the thing. This did progress the MCU forward, just not considerably. It's not a huge leap forward. It's just a minor step. They're taking care of some housekeeping, let's say, and that's what they've been doing with all the shows too. You know. Now, we should mention spoiler alerts because we're going to be talking about a movie that just came out.
Sure.
So if you don't want to hear about this movie, you know, I don't know, watch us later after you've seen it.
Tune in about 15 minutes.
Yeah. But so the whole purpose of this movie was to introduce Black Widow's sister.
Yes. Which I'm not aware of any sister in the comic books.
Yeah.
Which I understand movies, comic books,
Sure.
two different things.
And well, this isn't even her biological sister. This is a sister that was put together for a short time when they were young. You know, as they infiltrated the U.S. and, you know, stole some secrets or whatever. You know?
Yeah, it's not even a real sister. It's just one.
Yeah, it
that
was a cover.
Pretended.
It was
to
a
be
cover
her sister.
for their parents, their quote-unquote parents, as they infiltrated the U.S., right? And then they escape back, and then it's back to the Red Room for those girls, and they're turned into, well, Black Widow's turned into a spy extraordinaire, and the other sister, the sister, is turned into
The sister
an
sister?
assassin.
The sister.
Sister. Ow! All right. And so she's turned into an assassin, and so the whole movie's about them coming together and finding out that the Red Room, well, Black Widow's finding out that the Red Room still exists.
Because she thought she destroyed it.
She thought she killed the guy who ran it, but she didn't, because, you know, nobody dies in the comic books.
Which we did find out that the whole story of her and Clint meeting up, how they met up, and what kind of happened in that.
Yeah. So the way she got into S.H.I.E.L.D. was by assassinating this dude. Ends up,
He didn't die.
yeah, he didn't die.
Just like every Marvel villain, they don't die.
Which I think is good in many respects. I mean, every Batman movie, the villains die. And Batman, of all people, doesn't kill his villains, you know?
Yes.
So, sounds like one of the mics has a bad connection.
Yeah,
we haven't
I've checked
touched
all of them.
Yeah. Everything's... we're sorry. We apologize. Most likely, this is a computer issue because we're getting it upgraded. It just is a constant thorn in our side that we've been trying to work through.
Sorry.
Okay, so Black Widow again. So he doesn't die. You know, so Batman's villains
Yeah.
in the
Well-
movies always die, but he doesn't kill his villains. You know, except for some
usually
rare
saves them.
circumstances. Yeah, and then they go to Arkham Asylum so that they can wreak havoc again in the future.
So they can escape and do it all over again.
Yeah. But it goes against his code, you know, and it's never his fault per se that they die.
Correct.
You know.
It's usually their choice of, I'm going to do this to try to kill you, but it's going to backfire and end up killing me.
Now in The Dark Knight, Joker didn't die.
No, he didn't.
And
He was
actually in
actually
Batman Begins, the Scarecrow didn't die.
No. He was
It's
actually
just that, you know,
supposed to
Heath
come
Ledger
back.
died, and
They were going to replace Heath Ledger.
yeah, so that sucked. But
So anyways,
I
getting
like
back
that the
to
Marvel villains don't die. But either way, yeah, back to Black Widow. They they find out it's still happening, and it's even worse now because now it's like chemically induced control, or as opposed to psychological, tearing down and conditioning and all that, brainwashing. This is like literal, like
One's
chemical.
worse than the other.
Well, the thing with the chemical is that they know that they're being controlled.
Yes.
They know that they're not in control of their bodies. They're still conscious of everything that's happening, but they just have zero control over their bodies, which is somehow even more frightening.
Okay.
So it's like worse than what they did to Bucky, because at least Bucky didn't remember.
Well, he
most part.
remembered it, but it was vague. It was kind of like a dream.
Yeah. And
Whereas this is full consciousness. You just have no free will.
Deep State, we've rebooted like 5 times.
That's why we're coming on late.
Yeah.
We've been trying to boot up
Is
this
it-
computer since about 8:20.
Yeah.
So, like I said previously, technical issues.
Yes. Sorry, guys. We really do apologize. We'll try to.
We're working on it.
Yep.
So, anyways, getting back to this, what were some of the pros you liked about it? Without
Great
going
action.
too big into the ending.
Great action. I liked all the characters. The characters were really good. I really hated the bad guy at the end there, and so I looked forward to her beating the crap out of him.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. Yeah, I liked it.
I liked it too. It was enjoyable.
It wasn't mind-blowing. It wasn't like Captain America Winter Soldier. you know?
No, that was just epically fun.
Yeah. But this is it's just like in the beginning of the MCU. They were good movies, but they weren't like amazing. They were amazing because we'd never seen anything like it before.
True.
But they weren't amazing in that, like, you watch them over and over again and you're like, man, what an awesome story. Because it's an intro story.
I thought the first Iron Man was really good.
I think it had some problems. But it was still a good movie.
Yes.
But these are intro stories.
My
And
biggest
intro
issue
stories are always...
is not so much with the movie itself, but more of a trope that they put in.
Okay, what's that?
That the dad, the quote-unquote dad, was a buffoon.
Yeah.
I hate that trope.
Yeah. That's all over the place.
All dads, no matter what, are buffoons, idiots, and just could not tie their shoelaces if it weren't for the women around him.
Agreed.
I don't like that. He could be a good character.
Well, I thought he was funny. His character was funny. I laughed at several he was funny because he was earnest and sincere in his earnesty.
Okay, all right.
But yes, he was ultimately buffoonish.
Yes.
Which is all over the place. Everything. What was I watching recently? That was exactly the case.
Probably any Disney show on television.
Oh, it was Luca.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, his dad's not even like involved in any way.
It's an
Mom
absolute
rules that
buffoon.
house,
Buffoonery.
like from top to bottom.
Why can't there be a dual partnership where the man and the woman are equally intelligent and they work together to solve a problem?
Yeah. Why is that so hard? Oh, because that would be promoting the nuclear family, and BLM told us that that's bad. So.
Yeah, that's bad. That's everything that's wrong.
Well,
with America.
and in Luca, there is a strong male figure. He's great,
Yeah,
but he's a single dad.
he's a single dad with a handicap.
Yeah, with the handicap. Yeah,
Yeah, I actually really liked that character.
for sure.
That was a good portrayal of a father being a father. Working hard, great work ethic, being caring, and yet
but
still a man.
But firm, hard. He's a hard man.
Exactly.
But
and
anyway,
I think they nailed that character well.
for sure.
But
But notice there's no woman for him to interact with.
correct. Well, other than his daughter.
Well, yeah, but she's a young girl. And
She's a young girl, but she's also a strong, determined young woman
Yeah.
without denigrating the other guys around her.
Mhm.
Which, again, I love those type of characters. Those are great characters. And I really wish they'd write more of that instead of denigrating men to make women more powerful. Captain Marvel?
Well, it's not more powerful. I mean, it's more caricatures of, they make them into caricatures of people,
Yeah.
of actual people. Yes, we know the audio is trash.
Yes.
There's nothing we can do about it right now.
We're sorry, folks. Maybe
This
we
is
should have titled this "Sorry, Folks."
Yeah, right.
So, decent movie, worth watching if you got the time to watch it. If you can see it in the theaters, it's a good movie for that.
But
Is
are
it-
you gonna write home to mom about it? No, you're not.
Is it Infinity War?
No,
No.
no,
Is it Captain America? No.
no. But it was enjoyable.
It was
Taskmaster was
enjoyable.
cool, even though they completely rewrote the character of Taskmaster.
Yes, they did. But I found out something I did not know after watching the movie. George Perez created Taskmaster. One of my favorite comic book authors, artists, George Perez. If you get a chance, look him up. He's amazing. Yeah, he created Taskmaster. Taskmaster. Yeah.
I want to talk about Loki. So the final episode came out today. I haven't watched it. He has. So we're not going to talk about the final episode. But we are going to talk about the 5 previous, so if you haven't watched that, again, spoiler alert.
But if you haven't watched today's episode, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything because that would just be horrible
Yeah.
of me.
Yeah. If you haven't watched the previous 5, well,
Don't
know
worry
what to-
about it. Watch them. What we're going to talk about is not going to ruin them by any means.
Yeah, I guess so. So the first 2 episodes, my wife and I watched, and we and then we had to go to sleep, and then we watched the next 3 the last, in the same night, the next night.
Okay.
By the end of the first 2, I was like, I think I'm on the side of the bad guy in this show, because
The bad guy being Loki.
well, a variant Loki, if you don't know, basically Loki gets caught by this group called the TVA, the Time Variant Authority,
Which are there to protect the timeline.
the sacred timeline.
The sacred timeline, which is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That is the sacred timeline. Everything that's supposed to happen, does happen, will happen. Anything that goes outside of that and branches off gets pruned.
Mm-hmm.
It gets cut off.
Yep.
So you get these people that are caught in these branches, like Loki, who picked up the Tesseract and used it when he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah. So it was after the end of the first Avengers, and they're sealing up the Tesseract and they're hauling Loki away. But in this variant, the Tesseract ends up getting freed from the briefcase and lands near Loki. He picks it up and he hightails it out of there before getting sent to Asgardian prison.
Now remember, this Loki is a very unique Loki. The Loki that we know from the Marvel Cinematic Universe has lost his mother, has fought with Thanos and lost, died. That all happened after this event.
Mm-hmm.
So this Loki is the Loki directly after New York.
Mm-hmm.
The cocky, arrogant, the one that was in prison for a long time. That Loki, he gets taken to the TVA.
Yep.
And where he meets Russell Wilson.
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson. Sorry, I'm
Owen
horrible
Wilson.
with names.
He plays a character named Mobius.
Yes, which
Yeah.
I did not like at all.
But they named him Mobius.
Oh no, I don't mind Mobius. Mobius is an actual character. Anything. I'm not a big fan of Owen Wilson. Just, wow.
I like Owen Wilson. I like him a lot. And I thought his performance here was excellent, as always.
I honestly didn't start liking him, Owen Wilson's portrayal of Mobius, until about the 5th episode. And then I started, okay, this is starting to work. The interaction between him and Loki really started to flow better, I thought. And so I started liking
Well,
him.
they were at odds the whole time, up until that point, really. You
Even
know?
then, you can still like, not like, whatever.
I felt like the chemistry was great, but so the TVA maintains a sacred timeline,
Yes.
and
they're
there's
constantly
a rogue variant, a variant that escaped and keeps escaping them, and actually keeps causing divergent timelines,
And keeps killing
and then keeps
their
killing
enforcement officers.
exactly, keeps killing TVA officers, and so this Mobius wants the Loki post New York to help him.
Hope catch this.
Yeah. And so he kind of joins. But at this point, I'm like, the sacred time off.
But there was no other choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, this is garbage. I am not on the side of the TVA. Go Loki variant. Go Rogue.
Yeah.
You know, not actually Rogue from the X-Men. That would be weird, but
Nope, didn't get it.
yeah. But come to find out that the promises that they were making, that the TVA are the good guys, that this rogue Loki is the bad guys, was purposely done to throw us off the scent, because it turns out that my intuition was right and the TVA are the bad guys.
Well,
And-
I
but
wouldn't
all
call
the
them bad guys. Just the bureaucracy is not what
The system
should be.
is bad.
the system
And
is.
they're
bad.
agents of the system, and thus they're bad. Now, there are things that they don't know that we won't reveal to you. But so that that kind of lessens some of their complicity. For some of them.
Duplicity, I think, would be a
Well,
more.
no. Well, they're not. There's no duplicity. They're
I think
complicit.
so.
They're complicit with an evil system, right?
Yes. But they're duplicit.
Well,
in
okay.
that
There's a couple that are duplicitous because they
like the judge.
they do know things. Yes,
Yes. Or they should know things.
yes. But either way, they flip it. They promise something at the beginning. TVA is good. Variants are bad. This rogue variant, very bad. But then they turn it on its head, and you find out that the truth is the opposite, and it was done really well, and I'm really enjoying it. The characters are great. When you get to the land of the multiple Lokis, that was
That was probably one of my
Excellent.
favorite episodes. The multiple Lokis just cracked me up because all of them are very Loki.
mhm.
And
but
you
in
really do
different
get to know
but in
Loki.
great different ways too,
Yes.
which is great.
And I
My
love
favorite
Alligator.
is Old Man Loki.
Okay. I love
So
Alligator.
he looks, Old Man Loki looks like
the
the
comic,
comic book version of Loki.
the big yellow cape, the
Yellow
Yellow
suit,
stripe.
the leather headpiece,
and the
you know,
huge
it's not-
horns.
yeah. And he reprimands them all for using weapons because he long ago realized that he was much more powerful with his sorcery. you
Yeah.
know? And
His
then
illusions.
one of the guys says, but
The swords are cool.
but they're so cool. And he's like, yeah, they're so cool when they come clinging to the floor after you've died. And he's like, you got a point there.
because
and then
all
you
of
get to
them
see-
know the timeline in which they were supposed to be and how they were supposed to end. Because they all know that they're supposed to die at the hands of Thanos. Because that's the timeline. That's what it's supposed to be.
But you eventually see his sorcery in action. He was quite powerful.
Oh, it was spectacular.
It's great. Anyway, I think that's enough for pop culture, right?
I think so. I think we've
so
covered
watch
quite a bit.
Loki. It's great. Watch Black Widow. It's pretty good.
That's enjoyable.
And there's just information that you might want to know as the MCU progresses.
And if you enjoy Star Wars, Bad Batch is definitely a good show to pick up.
All right.
Fun show.
It's time for the weekly Trump dump.
Dun dun dun. We really need new theme music for this or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Trump dump.
We can. We're working on it. What has he been up to? He was at a UFC fight.
Yep.
The crowd went wild.
Just absolutely nuts.
Yeah, they were just champing at the bit to murder him because he's so evil.
Wait, what?
And
was he in the octagon?
No. He was in the crowd, which I thought was a foolish mistake because everybody hated him, and they were trying to kill him, right?
I don't think that's how it went down.
Well, Orange Man is bad. That's the corporate media has been telling us that for.
You're talking about a
quite some
bunch of
time.
people that like MMA, right?
Yeah.
They tend to be the outliers on society. I think they kind of like him.
Huh. Okay. That's So they're evil, racist bigots.
According to the media, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't want to pick a fight with any of them.
My worldview is intact, people. No. He was celebrated, and everybody was
cheered for
happy
him.
to see him. Except for the corporate media, they were not happy to see him, and so they had people like Megan Fox come on to talk about what it was like sitting next to him. Yeah, but she actually, to her credit, didn't fall in line with that nonsense, and just didn't really have much to say about it.
I'm shocked.
I think she might have called him a legend.
Really?
She might have, but don't quote me on that. I'm not gonna die on that hill. Because frankly, I don't care enough about Megan Fox. Even though, I'm not gonna lie, she's attractive. Physically.
Other than Transformers 1,
I don't care about her film career. But objectively, when you look at her, she is physically attractive. You can't deny it. Don't even try. Don't bother. I don't want to hear it. Because it's a lie. Alright? All right. What else? Do we have anything else on him?
We briefly talked a little bit about the lawsuit that's going down.
Yeah.
Because of the law that DeSantis put forth about media companies not being able to essentially block him anymore. Sorry, trying to fix this.
Gotcha. So does this sound better?
There's still a hiss. Let me try it. Hold on. Okay.
What about this? Is that better?
Waiting for it to catch up. So.
Deep State says, I was watching UFC on ESPN. There was no mention of the Orange Man. I think that's fake news. That's a good point. ESPN is the source of all sports news. There is no other point of view. In fact, you really shouldn't even be watching sports. ESPN doesn't even talk about sports really that much anymore, do they?
Not really. It's mostly politics.
Yeah. So that's good. Thanks. Good call, Steve Steak. Good call.
It's this.
Frustrating.
Yep. Sorry, folks. I've done everything that I can to fix this. It's broken.
You said the hiss went away briefly, then came back.
Yes. Because I detached our mics.
Yeah. All right. So this is a computer issue. We're working on replacing this computer. I'll
Yes.
have it replaced by next week
Hopefully.
because I must. Because we don't want this to happen again. Anyway,
You guys deserve better.
agreed. But we're also trying to not miss a show over this nonsense. So,
True. We're dedicated to being here every week to put a show up for you guys to talk about this and be there for you.
Yep. All right. So, you said that there's been like 800 or 900 people attached to this.
At least 800 to 900 are attached to the lawsuit. For each one, you can sue. I think it's up to $10,000 per person.
Wow.
And if you're a media figure or if you're a political figure, it's 100,000.
Okay.
So, my guess is it's going to be a lot more than that by the time this thing finally sees the light.
Mm-hmm.
Just due to the fact that it's coming out, even on CNN's starting to cover this, which means this could go bad for them.
We'll see.
For big tech,
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's
It's actually
I guess
a
that's
very-
that's good news.
He is
We'll
still.
see what comes up.
Trump
That's
is
always-
still putting forth his plan to create his own social media network.
Yeah.
Don't know if that's actually going
Well-
to be a thing or not.
Yeah, and we're in such a weird state. Parler's back, but
Not back.
it lost its mojo.
Yep.
Now you've got this like former Trump official who started Getter.
Getter?
Have you seen it? Yeah,
No, I haven't
I've
heard
seen
of
it advertised on a couple different platforms. GETTR. I haven't signed up for it. I don't care. Trump's, and especially if you know that Trump's doing this thing, then what do you think you're gonna
What
do
is your
over
draw?
his? Yeah, you know.
His draw
And
is
then
obvious.
His draw is him. But at the same time, like I don't. Even that, I'm not like. Oh, the savior of social media.
No,
And-
that's
and-
not what I think of when I think of Trump.
And you know, part of that for me is probably I don't care about social media anyway. So
Quite honestly, I really don't want Trump to run again in 2024.
really,
I'm leaning more and more towards I hope he doesn't run. I don't mind him being in the political game. I like that because he stirs the pot and he stirs it really well. The problem is he stirs it too much as the political figurehead, like the president, whatnot.
you know, I don't know.
I think we need somebody like him, but not him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but who's like him but not him?
Really?
Yeah,
DeSantos.
it's DeSantis.
DeSantis, excuse me.
But he's
Mispronunciation.
our governor. I don't want him to not be our governor.
I don't want him to not be our governor either, but dear God, can you imagine him as president?
Maybe.
As long as he keeps on the track that he is.
Yeah, if he keeps
already
on the
going.
track that he's already on, for sure. But you know, things change when you go to Washington, D.C.,
That
you
is
know.
true.
except for one person, and that was
Trump.
So I want him to run again. I want him to win, and I want him to be I don't even have to get reelected. I can't get reelected, so I don't give a beep.
So in other words, you want him to be the second term that he should have had.
Yeah, I want him to go in there and do like, I don't. No, we're doing
Like
this.
Obama did in his
This-
second term. He just absolutely just went gun ho.
Kind of, yeah. But I think he would do even more so. I mean, okay, look, he stirred the pot like crazy.
Yeah.
And they hated him. They hated him. But that's a good
And
thing because they couldn't control him. And he got a ton done. He got a lot done.
Yes.
Despite the madness.
Yes. And I'm not
And
arguing
he
any
was
of
still had re-election to consider.
this. Yes.
I think I don't care that he stirs the pot too much. I think that's a good thing.
I'm not against stirring the pot. I'm not against. I liked a lot of his rhetoric. The issue is he stirs it up too much.
Yeah, but
He
what
goes
is too much?
far. He exaggerates like crazy.
Yeah.
I do not like all of his exaggerations. Tell me what you mean and try to keep the exaggerations to a minimum. Because
Sure.
once you exaggerate too far, you're borderline lying.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And he did that all the time.
Sure. Yeah.
The greatest thing ever.
Yeah. Sure. Definitely.
He's a pitch man. I get it. That's
Yep.
what he does.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just I didn't like that aspect.
But here's the thing. They're all doing that. They're just doing it in more controlled ways, and or the corporate media is on their side. You know, Obama was,
A great pitch man.
yeah, doing exactly the same thing.
He was a silver-tongued devil.
Mm-hmm.
I just wholeheartedly disagreed with his policies, but dang, he could talk.
Yeah, he could talk pretty well, except for he stuttered a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't like, they talked about him like he was this orator supreme,
No.
and he was not. But he was good. I'm not gonna downplay it.
He was a good
that far.
communicator.
He was a good communicator. He was, you know, he had style and charisma and you know, all that. But at the same time, every time that he was telling a lie, he would be, you know, every time. Just go back and look at some of the known lines
So
and the
is it one
speeches
of
that he's
his
giving
tells?
about it, and that was one of his tells. He was always going or whatever whenever he's, you know, trying
Knowingly lie.
to put his words together to craft the lie he's about to tell.
It was because of a video that surfaced that Benghazi.
You see, this. You can keep your doctors if you will.
Yeah. Things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the Trump dump. A little low this week, but you know what isn't low this week? Hasn't been low.
What's not been low?
The news.
The news.
There's a lot going on in the world.
News of the week.
Yes. Okay, first off, I'm going to start with the unrest in the world. You got Cuban protesters. The people are in the streets in Cuba protesting their government because they don't have vaccines.
Are they protesting because
That they're out in the streets because they haven't gotten vaccines for COVID-19.
Hold on here. Wasn't it CNN that was comparing Cuba's healthcare system to ours and saying how much better it was?
Well, and I've got this figured out, so let me lay it out.
Oh, okay. All right.
See, Cuba's healthcare system is better than ours. It's so good that they don't even need the vaccine for COVID-19. But Western propaganda has filtered in, and they think that they need the COVID-19 vaccine, and so they're protesting their government.
Gotcha.
This is how it works. Or reality. We could go with reality. Do you want to go with reality?
I prefer reality.
Okay, well, the reality is they're protesting the government because communism doesn't work.
Oh, there goes reality.
Because they're hungry. Because they're
Because they can't get food.
Because
Because their money's not worth anything.
exactly, because they're they're still working on cars from the 60s. They're anyway, perils of working in a garage. So they I have a tweet here. It's a really great tweet. I think this is meme of the week. Let me find it.
So their healthcare system is so good that they can't get the vaccine. So they're out. CNN says they're out protesting because they can't get the vaccine, but they're starving. That's seems
weird.
This seems like a weird thing to protest for.
Yeah, and they're shouting freedom. Oh, there it is. I hate bugs.
Those are not protests. Those are parades.
Please get the facts straight. Oh, you're
Deep
right.
state.
You're right. My bad.
So sorry I didn't get the facts straight on the parades versus the protests.
Oh man, the tweet got deleted. Instagram probably either the guy deleted it or Instagram deleted it, so I can't even read it to you. But it was basically like it was basically comparing Cuba to America. I'm not even gonna try to repeat it because it was a long list of things. Anyway, so yeah, they're out in the streets crying freedom and other anti-government slogans.
Did you see
per the New
Biden's
York
response
Times.
to that?
No, I did not.
Which I found completely ironic, because they're out there protesting and waving American flags all over the place.
And I love that.
I love it too. I think it's great.
This harkens back to Hong Kong, where we saw the exact same thing going on.
What was that guy that said that?
Donald Trump.
Don't touch China.
China is asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I think it's amazing that all of these oppressed peoples all over the world, that when they're crying out for freedom, they fly our flag.
Yeah, because they see our flag as the symbol of freedom, not what?
Tyranny.
Oppression.
Yeah.
Tyranny. They don't see the slavery. They see the freedom that we have fought for.
They don't see the
that
systemic
we have died
racism?
for. No, they don't.
Interesting. They don't see the inequity.
The patriarchy?
What's that?
The patriarchy?
Yeah, they don't see the inequity.
No, I don't think so.
Wow. Fools. What utter fools.
I know everyone that I've ever talked to that's immigrated here has immigrated here because they were searching for freedom. The chance, just the chance to be free. The chance
To make
to
a life
succeed
for themselves.
or fail
Or for
on
their
their
children.
own.
Yeah. To make a life for themselves or their children in, frankly, one of the only, if not the only country that's possible.
Yes, because you have every right to succeed and every right to fail.
It's
And it's how hard you want to work for it. So,
but
Biden.
but there are people within this country who've grown up in this country,
Yes.
who live in this country,
Yes.
who are actively working to
To
make
destroy
sure that is no longer true.
To turn this country into a country like Cuba,
Where people,
are protesting to be free.
I mean, I was a child, and the story was immigrants from Cuba fleeing on crappy boats and making it to our shores.
Not even boats, just whatever would float.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
What is it, about 80 miles to Cuba?
I mean it would be like tires tied together with a car on top.
Holy
To
cow.
provide some kind of shelter or something like that. Insanity.
Yeah. So, Biden has a press conference where he's talking about, he hears about the protesters in Cuba, and he now has to defend freedom. Something that you could abundantly see he really didn't want to do. He didn't want to talk about how great it was to be America and that they were lifting up American flags, because there wasn't you couldn't take a picture without seeing an American flag flying.
It's true.
There was just no way. There were so many of them.
Where did they get them to? That's the
Amazon?
amazing. Is Amazon
I have no idea.
shipped to Cuba?
I really don't know.
Well, they weren't buying it because the Cuban regime shut down the internet. There's no internet right now in Cuba.
Nah, I don't know.
No, I mean that's
It's true?
yeah.
Oh, wow. Had
There's
no
no
idea.
internet right now in Cuba.
Well, if you want to control people and be able to control how well they communicate, that'd be a good way of doing it.
Yeah. Well, they don't want any, Western influence to keep things going.
How dare they? So, anyways, President President Biden. Ugh, I hate saying that word. Much rather say it the other way. Biden's giving this press conference, and you can see him just almost cringing with the words of he's having to support these protesters because he wants to win the Cuban vote, which is primarily Florida. We have a huge Cuban community here in Florida. I can't imagine why that would be.
Yeah.
And so he's having to support these people because he wants to win their vote for the 2024 election. But it's not what he's wanting to do. And it's abundantly apparent it's not what he wants to do.
Well, and he doesn't want to lose votes in 2022 either for
That's true, for the midterms.
Congress and all that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't see that going well for him.
No.
But
Because this is what a clown show.
So the rest of the world is good though, right? It's all calm.
No. Have you heard about South Africa?
South Africa. I've heard of South Africa. My cousins are from South Africa.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, they immigrated here. Great people.
Nice.
He's a pilot. Awesome dude.
I have a friend who moved to South Africa to be a missionary, and he married a lovely South African girl, and they produced a child, and they're still there, doing their thing. We interviewed them on the show a couple years ago.
Yep.
And yeah, it was good stuff. But no, South Africa's not doing so hot right now.
Really? What's going on in South
apparently,
Africa?
there's been riots for at least a week, possibly even 2 weeks. I'm not sure about the duration, but I do know that 72 are dead.
72 are dead? Wow.
72
That's a lot of
are
people.
dead. And they're just they're looting. Businesses burned down and all. Kind of like
Some of the
what
protests
BLM
here?
did in some of our cities over the summer.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And are kind of still doing.
In Portland?
Yeah. Poor Portland.
I feel bad for
You get what you
I
deserve.
used to feel bad for Portland. I don't anymore.
So what happened was Jacob Zuma, the former president of South Africa, was taken into custody on Wednesday to begin serving a 15-month prison sentence, capping a stunning downfall for a once lauded freedom fighter who battled the apartheid regime alongside Nelson Mandela. So, the Constitutional Court, the nation's highest judicial body, ordered Mr. Zuma's imprisonment last month after finding him guilty of contempt for failing to appear before a commission investigating corruption accusations that tainted his tenure as the nation's leader from 2009 to 2018. Under Mr. Zuma, who was forced to step down, the extent of crony corruption within the governing African National Congress Party became clear, turning a once heralded liberation movement into a vehicle of self-enrichment for many officials. So basically, the former president was corrupt. He was sentenced to jail. He got put into prison, and his supporters went nuts and started rioting. And it's gotten so bad that civilians are starting to shoot at protesters to get them to stop.
Wow. That's some pretty serious stuff right there.
Now, oh, I'm sorry. Did I say riots? I meant parades.
Parades.
Parades. So people are shooting at the parade
Deep state.
the parade, whatever you would call them, parade walkers, with their fire and their...
Fire bad.
And so this is less about freedom and this is more about upholding corruption in South Africa. So that's sad.
Yeah.
So, like, Cuba, good. What's going to happen to the people in Cuba? Not good, because communist regimes don't play. We saw what happened in Venezuela.
Russia.
Running down people in tanks. And China, Tiananmen Square, which they kind of erased from history in China.
Yeah. Taiwan.
Oh yeah,
They're still doing to Taiwan.
They're trying to take over Taiwan, and Japan is escalating their response to China trying to take Taiwan.
Yep.
And saying we will go to war, which kind of drags us along with them because we're an ally.
Well, we're an ally of Taiwan as well.
Yeah. Even though we have no problem taking their, taking their flag off of our movie vests, and we have no problem saying we're sorry for saying that Taiwan is a nation, John Cena. Hollywood has no problem kowtowing to China over Taiwan.
Well, neither does the NBA.
Yeah.
But luckily, the NBA and Hollywood are not the U.S. government.
True.
For us.
But I think if Japan didn't step up, we would have done nothing about it.
Oh, I completely agree. I don't think Biden has a bone in his back that would stand up.
True.
Well, so story time. You want story time?
Yeah, I want story time.
So Biden put out an edict last week about wanting to shift the focus of the vaccines from large places of gathering to get the vaccine to a more local dynamic of in your neighborhoods and door to door.
And I mentioned that the door-to-door thing was only said by the press secretary, and at the time I thought that was true.
That was
Turns
true,
out,
but it also was said by Biden himself.
Biden himself said it, and since then many other people have said similar things.
Nancy Pelosi, go down the list. It's all.
And they were more explicit. Like they said door to door, but that that could always be hyperbole. But then they went more specific about what door to door meant.
Yes.
And I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
Anyway.
And I have no problem with people that want to get the vaccine. Go for it. It's there. If you feel like it would make you feel safer, by all means. Who was the one that pushed to get this developed?
That would be Donald Trump.
Really? Donald Trump pushed to get the vaccine.
Yeah, it was Operation Warp Speed, I believe, was the name of the...
What was Biden and Kamala's response to him actually getting the vaccine developed?
Well, Biden's response was to pretend that he didn't get it developed and that Biden was the one who, but he's senile, so who cares?
That's very true.
Kamala,
Mula.
President Harris said that.
Don't you mean Vice President?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
He hasn't died yet.
Yeah. I was just going by what Biden has said repeatedly. She said that she would be very skeptical and probably not want to take the vaccine that came from Mr. Trump. So, yeah. Yeah.
So anyways, he's pushing this program to get people more into the communities and reaching out to people who are unvaccinated, because they're really, 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 really pushing for these people to have the vaccine, and they need people to get the vaccine. And I'm not entirely sure why yet. I haven't put my finger on why this is when they were so against it just 8 months ago. And now
I don't get it either.
they're almost mandating that you get the vaccine because they're pushing for things like if you don't have the vaccine, you can't go to work. If you don't have the vaccine, you can't go out into public. If you don't have the vaccine, you can't go get groceries.
Kathleen Sebelius, former Obama administration Health and Human Services Secretary, said Tuesday on CNN's Out Front that Americans who have not received a coronavirus vaccine should not be allowed to work or have access to children and be limited on where they are allowed to go.
If that's not dictate, I don't know what is. Because, I mean, telling somebody, listen, you can't go there because you don't have this. I don't know of anything more anti-American.
Listen to this. I'm going to give you this quote. Sebelius said, "We're in a situation where we have a wildly effective vaccine, multiple choices, lots available, free of charge, and we have folks who are just saying, I won't do it. I think that it's time to say to those folks, it's fine if you don't choose to get vaccinated. You may not come to work. You may not have access to a situation where you're going to put my grandchildren in jeopardy, where you might kill them. No, I'm not going to kill them. The virus is not going to kill them either because it does not affect children.
99.99999, I'm going to keep going with this 9% chance of death, or mortality, I should say, mortality, on children under the age of 12.
Where you might kill them, or you might put them in a situation where they're going to carry the virus to someone in a high-risk position. Well, if I don't have symptoms, then they're not going to get the virus from me. Because there's asymptomatic transmission is almost none.
That's not a thing.
She continued, that's, I think, the point where we are. Is freedom is one thing. But freedom when you harm others, like secondhand smoke and issues that we dealt with very clearly in the past. You can't drive drunk. You can drink, but you can't drive drunk because you can injure other people. You can't smoke inside of a public place where you can give cancer to someone else in spite of their never having been a smoker. Sebelius added, so I think we're reaching that point in the United States where those of us who are vaccinated, I want to take off my mask. I want to be able to live my life with vaccination. And right now, I'm being impinged on by people who say I don't want to get vaccinated. None of that's true. It's fine. I want them to maybe have a limitation on where they can go and who they can possibly infect. So you're being impinged on is not true, but you wanting to impinge on others is very real.
Yes.
You're not being impinged on. You can take off your mask because you have the vaccine. You're protected. You freaking moron. Former Health and Human Services Secretary. No wonder we have Obamacare. Idiots like this who know nothing about... I mean, this is just basic logic.
It is. It really is.
In the realm of biological sciences.
So...
You know, I mean, how... Deep State says, Zuma must be freed. I am sending Hunter down to negotiate his release. Thank you, Deep State. I'm sure he'll do a great job and come back with many billions of dollars for the Biden family.
I'm sure his nose is doing just fine.
And Joe Miami says, SOS Cuba 100% if you are against the Cuban government.
So,
and for the Cuban people.
We've got Biden saying he's coming into our neighborhoods. We've got all these liberals just saying, if you're not vaccinated, they're coming for you.
Yeah. Geraldo Rivero said exactly the same thing that Sebelius said recently, and there's more. I'm sure there's plenty more where that came from.
So your rights don't matter as long as you're not vaccinated. What happened to all this? What happened to the people that actually practice no vaccinations whatsoever because that's their faith, part of their religion?
Well, they should have been, rounded up and put into concentration camps long ago, but it's not really American.
Chickenpox, smallpox, polio, measles. They didn't get any of that. Yet they're not killing thousands upon thousands of people. Interesting. I'd be much more afraid of measles than I am of COVID.
Well, yeah. I mean, after now that we know the actual science and can follow the science.
Almost 5% of everyone that's vaccinated has an adverse reaction. And of that 1% have a severe adverse reaction. That's more than COVID.
No.
Yes.
That's
It's
impossible.
actually more than COVID.
That's impossible. So many people died from COVID. COVID alone.
Actually, the CDC adjusted their numbers because they did not take into comorbidity as a factor. One of those comorbidities would be, I don't know, somebody putting a gun into their mouth and pulling the trigger.
Oh, so basically, they'd get a corpse,
Test it.
test it, and say, COVID death.
Yep, COVID death. Definitely COVID death.
Why would a hospital do that?
It doesn't matter that the bus hit him and ran him over 3 times.
Why would a hospital report that? Why would they even test it? They know why the person died.
My first thought is, ching.
Oh, you're talking about the thousands of dollars that they would get for every.
$3,000 for every patient and $30,000 for anybody that they hooked up to a
Breathalyzer.
breathing
Yeah.
machine. I don't know, breathalyzer.
Yeah, breathalyzer is really the testing for alcohol. But
So
yeah, the ventilator.
Ventilator. Thank you. Good. Yes. Yeah. Cha-ching, cha-ching. That's all it is. It's this.
Huh.
Which I don't
How
blame
about that?
hospitals for that because
I still blame hospitals. They have no integrity.
neither does anybody that gets a paycheck from the government. That's including me.
I don't know.
Did you send your money back?
No,
Why not?
because
It's my money.
yes, but I'm not being fraudulent.
No.
I paid my taxes, even though I think taxation is theft.
Yes.
You know, and so basically I'm getting back my money.
Yes. That's the way I looked at it too. I'm just stating the fact that the government set up a scenario where hospitals were able to take
Yes.
advantage of a situation.
Sure.
And they took advantage of that situation because
Yes,
our
but they took
lawmakers
advantage of
did
it
not.
fraudulently. That's fraud.
They didn't.
This wasn't a patient that had COVID and then they treated them and the person died. This was a person who was already dead, but
And
they
there was
tested
this-
him for COVID
Yes.
and they knew the cause of death,
But they still labeled it as COVID.
but they still labeled it as COVID so that they could get the money.
Yes.
That's fraud.
Yes. No. Yes, it's fraud. No, it should not have happened because there should have been checks and balances on what counts as a COVID death.
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately this was all just strung together, and everything was done on the fly
Yes.
and done to promote tyranny and so on and so forth.
So, anyways, getting back to the neighborhoods.
Yes.
Story time. I go to my local Walmart. Need to pick up a few supplies for my work that day. I noticed a gentleman walking around talking to people in the parking lot. Didn't think much of it. Got my supplies. Walked back out. This gentleman approaches me. Sir, excuse me, sir. Are you vaccinated? I look at him. What is it any of your business that whether or not I'm vaccinated? Well, I'm asking everyone because the president has instituted a program where we're reaching out to people who aren't vaccinated to let them know you can easily get vaccinated inside Walmart. If you want to, I can take you in there right now and get you vaccinated. And I immediately said, that's none of your business. Whether or not I'm vaccinated or not, you should not be asking this. If somebody wants to get vaccinated, there are plenty of places to get vaccinated. If you don't want to get vaccinated, you shouldn't have to be vaccinated. It is called freedom of choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's what allows us to be free,
I am free to make decisions,
good or bad.
good or bad.
It's exactly what I was saying earlier about coming to this country and being able to make a choice. Succeed or fail, it's on me, not anybody else.
Do or do not. There is no try.
In that case, yes, that's very true.
Mhm.
In most cases, no, that's not true. But I was really outraged that this guy was even there pushing this onto people, because why? Why? For a vaccine that these people never wanted. When I say these people, I'm referring to the upper echelons of the Democratic Party.
Mhm.
Why? Why are you pushing this so hard now?
Well,
What is it
There's always
right now?
the conspiracy theories that there's something nefarious hidden in the vaccine.
I hope not. I really hope not.
Is it possible? Sure.
Yeah,
I wouldn't put anything past these monsters.
I won't put it past them either. However,
Do we have any evidence for it? No.
No.
We just have plenty to be suspicious about.
the fact that they're pushing it so hard after they were so hard against it.
Well, first of all, they didn't think it could be done,
Yeah.
and now they're pushing so hard. It's not because they care about money. They spend money like it's, like it grows on trees. So it's not about the money they lost in buying it from the big, from Pfizer and Moderna and Johnson & Johnson.
Technically, all of those were bought under, well, most of them were bought under Trump's administration.
Yeah.
Biden only approved 100 million doses.
So, it's definitely not about money, because this is all free, so it doesn't get them any money.
No. I just don't understand the big push for it.
It could be that they're pushing it so big on purpose to make people suspicious, to make people wary, so that while at the same time, like their goal is always to divide us, right?
Yes.
That's why that's why we get CRT, critical race theory being taught in schools, in school districts that always vote red, and
And I feel bad for any teacher that tries to teach my kids CRT.
yeah, and exactly, and it's happening all over corporate America, and they're dividing us on race. Academia is rife with it. Obviously, it came from academia.
Yes. Because they can't even define CRT.
Well, they purposely. That's their obfuscation is their security blanket. They obfuscate everything, and change the language constantly, because then they can go run and hide when people start to come down. It's like oh, we're talking. Why are you teaching this? This and this are all lies. Well, we're not talking about that. Those we don't even use those words. We're talking about these things, which are the exact same things in definition, but but they've changed the language.
They've
now.
twisted it.
This is always the playbook, right? So that way they never have to really retreat. So they're divide us on race, but this is just another way to divide us: vaccinated versus unvaccinated.
Yep.
And so at the very least, this is just another division tactic, another thing to label crazy right wingers.
Which now they're pushing. They're not even pushing for government to mandate this. They're pushing for businesses to mandate this, to where
because
if
they
you're
know
not
that
vaccinated,
they can't do it in the government.
Yeah, they can't.
It'll never pass in the House or the Senate.
They're trying to do lockdowns again in California because of the Delta virus. Or the Delta variant.
Where's the TVA when you need them,
Yeah, we need to prune this.
Jeez. I guess that's all part of the sacred timeline.
I hope not. That
Yeah.
would be absolutely horrible timeline.
Well, I
Oh, wait,
we're
this is our
living it. Yeah,
timeline.
we're living it. Stupid. The Delta variant is a joke. Nobody buys into it.
Well,
Except for the super the super corporate media religious, you know?
yes, the sycophants.
Yeah.
Biden.
Well, yeah. I mean, Biden doesn't know you know.
Seriously, did you see him on the news today?
No, I didn't.
He was doing a press conference, which he's only doing one press conference a day with a maximum of 10 minutes. That's it. And they're trying to limit as many.
Was that an official press release that that's the way things are going to go?
No, they've dropped it down to that amount of time, and he's not out there any more than that.
So that's just the trend that you've been noticing?
Yes, that is the trend that's being reported.
I just want... Okay.
It's not anything that somebody's come out and said, he's only going to be here for 10 minutes. And yes, we know about the audio. It's not us. Unfortunately, it's our computer. We've rebooted it several times prior to the show. Sorry, guys.
So, yes.
So, getting back to what I was saying, he's had a press conference today. Right in the middle of his sentence, he did almost just... Somebody hit the pause button on him, and he sat there for a good 30 to 35 seconds, not saying a word, not even moving, just staring at his cards. Just... And then... Oh yeah, this. It's like somebody just yelled in his ear, "Hey, start talking!"
Oh yeah, America's democracy is deceived. Well, I mean, the Republic. We're not a democracy.
No, we're not. We're actually a representative republic, constitutional representative republic.
So, if that... But that's just nitpicking. We know what you're trying to say. Yeah.
We got you.
Yeah. There's big problems. Big problems.
And they're getting even bigger.
Yep.
The new infrastructure plan that has nothing to do with building infrastructure as in our failing electrical grid or our failing road systems or bridges or anything that you would think of as infrastructure. No. This $3.7 trillion with a T dollar plan is for American infrastructure, for Green New Deal infrastructure, for...
So we're trying to make more Solyndras.
How dare you!
Yeah, unfortunately. More failure on an absolutely devastating economic scale.
Well, $3.7 trillion. That's another good reason to invest in Bitcoin.
3.7.
I am not a financial advisor.
That brings it almost up to $8 trillion he spent in... How many months has he been president?
Let's see, it's the middle of the year, so 6 months max.
It's more than $1 trillion a month.
Yeah.
$1 trillion a month. Of your money, my money, his money. Our kids' money, our grandkids, kids we are not even born yet. Their money gone. Just poof. Disappeared. Into nothing. Because the money that's been gone out has been mismanaged so badly.
Yeah. I mean, but that's not new for government. Government always mismanages money.
Yeah, but it's our money.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. You're right.
It's money we don't even have.
That's the real deal. See, it's not just that they're stealing our money and they're mismanaging it like crazy. This is money we don't even have.
This is money we don't have.
The-
It's
the-
causing
the-
inflation just through the roof.
Exactly. The value of the dollar is decreasing, which is another form of theft.
Yes.
So they're stealing our purchasing power. I mean, purchasing power even before Biden. Purchasing power was
It was decreasing, but not nearly at this rate.
purchasing power had dropped like 80%
Yeah.
since since our parents were kids.
Which means the cost of everything has gone up. That equivalency, it's called inflation. And now we're seeing it on an astronomical scale. And now we're also seeing shortages of supplies because we can't get them into the country. The main two ports in the United States are working at only 75% capacity because they can't get the workers to stay and work long enough. And they can't get the truckers to take the merchandise out.
Wow.
There's a severe trucker shortage in the United States right now. There's also a severe police shortage in America right now. And I can't imagine why the police shortage.
Yeah.
I have
Well,
no idea. Maybe
yeah.
defunding them?
Well, everything. I mean, restaurants are experiencing it like crazy. I mean, every restaurant in our city has a sign out front,
Help wanted.
"Help wanted." Every
And-
single one.
I still see homeless people all over the place.
Yeah, panhandlers.
Panhandlers. Why?
Because they make more money panhandling than
I
they
don't
ever did.
care. Have pride in yourself and go get a job.
I mean, but see, that's what comes with freedom of choice. Though they have the choice to
Do or not do.
do or not do. Alright, you want to take this guy's question? Chill Brazilian asks, "What's this? Okay, what's a good alternative? What's the suggestion that y'all
A better alternative to Biden?
to what's going on?"
To what's going on?
He says, he said that America's democracy is deceased. What's a good alternative? What's the suggestion?
Get the government out of the way.
Yeah, we go back to the Constitution,
Yeah, we go back
follow
to
the
strict
Constitution
Not
the way it was intended.
exactly.
There's the federal government is way bigger than it needs to be, than it ever
Should be.
should have been.
What-
It employs powers that it does not have per the Constitution.
Correct.
Yeah, federal government is the problem.
Government is never the solution. I think Ronald Reagan said it best. The worst thing you can hear from a government official is "I'm here to help,"
Yeah,
because
The
they're not going to help you.
yeah.
They're just going to get in the way,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to take as much as they can.
Yeah. He goes on to say, "Money is an abstraction. Work and resources have real value."
Yes,
True,
I agree with
but
that.
money is also a necessity.
Unfortunately, that is also true.
Yeah, I mean, in the current state of things, you need money, because money. Let's look at it at its basics. What preceded money? The barter system,
Yes.
right? So you have chickens, you make eggs. I am skilled in woodworking, and so I make furniture. I come to you with some furniture, and I say, "I need eggs. Would you like some of my furniture?" And you're like, "Wow, I love your furniture. Yes, here. How's this many eggs?" And we agree on something. We agree on a transaction,
Barter system.
the barter system. Well, what happens when I come the next day, when I run out of eggs, and I come back and I'm like, "Hey, would you like some more furniture?" And they're like, "No, I have
No,
all the
I've-
furniture I need,
I've got more furniture than I need.
so I don't really need furniture."
So what
Well-
do you do?
Well, what do you need? "Oh, I need pork. I know a guy who sells pork. I'm going to go get pork from him for my furniture, and then bring that to you and get eggs." And then that becomes even just more and more complex.
More
And
people
you-
relying on each other,
and
doing skilled labor.
Yeah, you spend more of your time acquiring the goods you need that somebody else needs, so that you can get the goods you need from them.
So why don't I just trade you something that says this is worth that many eggs or
Exactly.
that much
Money
in
becomes
woodcraft?
a store of value, and it fills in all those gaps.
See, originally money was based on gold, and we
Yes.
used gold to back the dollar.
And one can argue, but gold is just gold is just a shiny rock.
It's shiny metal, yes.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It is that.
Mm-hmm.
And it has value because we say it has value.
Correct.
All money is like that.
Yes.
It has value because we say it has value.
But
And
the
in fact,
reason-
and the work and the resources is kind of like that. We just proved that with the barter system.
yes.
Yeah, eggs have value, but only if I want them. Furniture has value, but only if he wants them.
Correct. Or needs them.
Or needs them. All that stuff. Obviously, we need food, but maybe I don't like eggs, so his eggs mean nothing to me. They have no value to me.
So then I have to go somewhere else to get what he needs so I can get his furniture.
Yeah.
So
Things have value because we place value on them.
yes.
Even work and resources.
Yes.
Now, obviously, there's necessities like food that have more value, but it's still that have more intrinsic value.
Yes.
But even then, it's still up to the person to want them.
Correct.
Doesn't have value until I want it.
And what happens if, say, you're making furniture, you come and get some of my eggs, you decide, I'm tired of going to him for eggs, I'm just going to raise my own chickens.
Yeah, that's
What
another.
happens to me?
That's another thing. How do you then? If everybody has chickens, how do you have to find some other skill or something in order to get what you need? Money fills in all those gaps.
Yes.
And money based on so we based money on gold because it was a scarce.
Scarce resource.
It's a pretty resource, and it has scarcity. There is some other value that we've learned as technology has increased that it has. So
Super good conductor.
exactly.
Of
So we use that a lot
temperature
in
and
tech and all that
electricity.
stuff. But even then, it's scarcity is what makes it
There was
a useful backer for the paper dollar.
For the most part, we knew how much gold there was in the world. Yes, there's some being discovered all the time, but it's usually in very minuscule amounts. So we have usually a set amount of we have this much gold on the planet.
Yeah.
That's
And
where
there's-
the value came in.
There's also purposeful limiting. Like they do that in the diamond market.
Yeah.
There's
There's
tons
only-
of diamonds. Diamonds are not a scarce resource.
No,
but they're
we
made
make
scarce
diamonds.
artificially.
Yeah. We make diamonds,
I don't.
and they're just.
I think
as
there's
good.
probably some of that going on with gold, or there was. But
Yes.
we've been off the gold standard since Nixon. So our money is based on nothing except for,
what we
well-
say it's worth. Oil.
and that's where the petrodollar comes in.
Yes.
We switched it from gold to oil pretty much, and we made the world
Buy oil.
buy oil with U.S. dollars. It's the only way that a country can buy oil. It's through U.S. dollars. So we